All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning, I am Saira Mujtaba and with me is Subhadra Ramachandran. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to lay foundation stone of Raja Mahendra Pratap Singh State University in Aligarh, Uttar Pradesh today to also inaugurate Aligarh Node of Defence Corridor. Prime Minister to visit US to attend Quad Leaders Summit in Washington DC later this month. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar says India is willing to stand by Afghan people just as in the past, calls international community to come together to create best enabling environment. India's vaccination drive achieves another milestone by crossing 75 crore mark. Recovery rate stands at 97.54%. Centre says MSP approved for designated Rabi crops for 2022-23 is higher or equal to 1.5 times of cost of production. Tamil Nadu increases reservation for women in government jobs from 30 to 40%. Relief and rescue operations continue in flood-hit area of Saurashtra region in Gujarat. Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel reviews situation. And Hindi Divas being celebrated across the country today. As the nationwide free COVID-19 vaccination campaign at government facilities for those above 18 years is going on, we advise our young listeners to get vaccinated and also help others get vaccinated. We also advise our listeners not to lower their guard as COVID-19 remains a threat to our health. Please stay at home unless it is essential to go out and continue to follow these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki doori for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact national helpline numbers 011-2397-8046 and 1075. As our nation celebrates the 75th year of independence, a series of events is being organized by the government as part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. To commemorate the occasion as a Jan Utsav, All India Radio News brings to its listeners a special quiz on India's freedom movement and its glorious history. The quiz is being conducted every Monday and Tuesday in Morning News and will continue till 15th of August 2022. India Post has joined hands as the logistics partner with All India Radio News for the Amrit Mahotsav quiz. Recalling our yesterday's question, who started the Bardoli Satyagraha and in which year? The correct answer is Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel in 1928. Vallabhbhai Patel took up the cause of the farmers in Bardoli in Surat district in 1928 who were asked to pay more land revenue than what was due. Vallabhbhai galvanized extraordinary courage among farmers. The British government used all sorts of methods to collect the enhanced tax but failed. This victory of farmers against the British Empire inspired confidence in the whole country. It was at this time that Vallabhbhai was referred to as the Sardar of the peasants and the title got permanently associated with him. AIR News got an overwhelming response from its listeners across the world and the one lucky winner of the quiz is Mitesh Sen from Sadipur in Dumka district of Jharkhand. Congrats from Team AIR News.
मैं झारखंड के दुमका डिस्ट्रिक्ट के सादीपुर गांव से मितेश सेन बोल रहा हूं। आज मैं आकाशवाणी का अमृत महोत्सव क्विज का विनर बन के बहुत खुश हूं और मैं इसके लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं। आकाशवाणी का न्यूज बहुत ही ज्ञानवर्धक है और सोर्स बहुत ही ऑथेंटिक है। इसके जो भी ज्ञानवर्धक बातें हैं ये मेरे लिए बहुत फायदा किया है। मैं विभिन्न परीक्षाओं की तैयारी में मैं इसका यूज किया हूं। इसके लिए मैं बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूं।
And now coming to our 10th question of the Amrit Mahotsav quiz in English. Which revolutionary freedom fighter popularized the slogan Inqilab Zindabad? I repeat the question. Which revolutionary freedom fighter popularized the slogan Inqilab Zindabad? Listeners can send in their responses to the question over WhatsApp on 8826 546262. Repeat, 8826 546262, or through email on Amrit Mahotsav Quiz at prasarbharati.gov.in. Amrit Mahotsav Quiz at prasarbharati.gov.in. One lucky participant will be selected as a winner and will be announced in tomorrow's morning news. The winner will be awarded an e-certificate and a token prize.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will reach Aligarh today and lay the foundation stone of the university named after great freedom fighter, educationist and social reformer Raja Mahendra Pratap Singh, and will also inaugurate the Aligarh node of the Defence Corridor. Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath yesterday visited the program venue in Aligarh and took stock of preparations. In wake of Prime Minister's program, elaborate security arrangements have been put in place. Uttar Pradesh Governor Anandiben Patel will also grace the occasion. More from our correspondent.
This university, in the memory of honor of great freedom fighter Raja Mahendra Pratap Singh, is being established by the state government in a total area of over 92 acres at Blaze Lodha and Blaze Musepur Karim Jaroli of Aligarh Skol Tehsil. This upcoming university will have a skill development and other vocational courses, and about 395 colleges connected with Aligarh, Hathras, Kasganj, Eta and nearby areas will be affiliated and benefited. A total area of 200 acres has been acquired for the Aligarh Defence Corridor project. Initially, this project will host 19 industrial units with a total investment outlay of rupees around 1,245 crores. MS Yadav, Yaya News, Aligarh.
The Prime Minister will also visit the exhibition models of Aligarh node of Uttar Pradesh Defence Industrial Corridor and Raja Mahendra Pratap Singh State University. Earlier, the Prime Minister has said these corridors will help the local manufacturers in the country.
देश में आज जो डिफेंस कॉरिडोर बनाए जा रहे हैं वो भी स्थानीय उद्यमियों, लोकल मैन्युफैक्चरिंग को मदद करेंगे। यानी आज हमारे डिफेंस सेक्टर में आत्मनिर्भरता को हमें जवान भी और नौजवान भी इन दोनों मोर्चों के सशक्तिकरण के रूप में देखना होगा। एक समय था जब देश की सुरक्षा जल, थल और नभ की सुरक्षा से ही संबंधित थी। अब सुरक्षा का दायरा जीवन के हर क्षेत्र से जुड़ गया है और इसकी बहुत बड़ी वजह आतंकवाद जैसे हथकंडे हैं। हमें परंपरागत डिफेंस आइटम के साथ ही 21वीं सदी की टेक्नोलॉजी और उस टेक्नोलॉजी ड्रिवेन आवश्यकताओं को देखते हुए ही हमें एक फ्यूचरिस्टिक विजन के साथ काम करना होगा।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will participate in the Leaders Summit of the Quadrilateral Framework in Washington, D.C. on 24th of September, along with Prime Minister of Australia Scott Morrison, Prime Minister of Japan Yoshihide Suga and US President Joseph R. Biden. The leaders will review progress made since their first virtual summit on 12th of March this year and discuss regional issues of shared interest. More in this report.
As part of their ongoing efforts to contain the COVID-19 pandemic, the leaders will review the Quad vaccine initiative, which was announced in March this year. They will also exchange views on contemporary global issues such as critical and emerging technologies, connectivity and infrastructure, cyber security, maritime security, humanitarian assistance, disaster relief, climate change and education. The summit would provide a valuable opportunity for dialogue and interactions among the leaders, anchored in their shared vision of ensuring a free, open and inclusive Indo-Pacific region. The Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address the general debate of the high-level segment of the 76th session of the United Nations General Assembly UNGA on 25th September in New York. Anupam Mishra, AR News, Delhi.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar has said that in the face of a grave emerging situation in Afghanistan, India is willing to stand by the Afghan people, just as in the past. He said to ensure this happens speedily and effectively, India believes that the international community must come together to create the best possible enabling environment. In his remarks at the United Nations high-level meeting on the humanitarian situation in Afghanistan 2021, Dr. Jaishankar said among the challenges that the current situation poses is that of efficient logistics. He pointed out it is therefore essential that humanitarian assistance providers are accorded unimpeded, unrestricted and direct access to Afghanistan. Once relief materials reach that country, the world will naturally expect a non-discriminatory distribution of humanitarian assistance across all sections of the Afghan society. In his remarks, the External Affairs Minister mentioned that India's efforts in helping the Afghan people has been both direct and indirect, where he contributed to the livelihood and larger framework as significantly as they have to direct material leads. He said our friendship is reflected in Indian development projects that today exist in all the 34 provinces. Dr. Jaishankar said, in all, India has invested more than $3 billion for the welfare of the people of Afghanistan. India has undertaken 500 projects in critical areas of power, water supply, road connectivity, healthcare, education, agriculture, and capacity building.
Union Minister for Power R.K. Singh yesterday met a delegation led by U.S. Special Presidential Envoy for Climate John Kerry in New Delhi. The purpose of the meeting was to discuss further collaboration on climate change issues and to work towards a genuine partnership between the two countries to pave the way for the rest of the world on energy transition. During the meeting, the US side appreciated India for its energy access drive and commitment to achieve 450 gigawatt of renewable energy by 2030. They also lauded India for electrifying 28.02 million homes in 18 months and achieved universal household electrification. India has crossed yet another milestone in the COVID vaccination drive, with total vaccination crossing the 75 crore mark. The Health Minister, Mansukh Mandavia, said that with the mantra of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Prayas, the world's largest vaccination drive is continuously creating new dimensions. He said in the 75th year of independence, the country has crossed the 75 crore mark in COVID vaccination coverage. The Health Ministry said 37,687 COVID patients recovered in the last 24 hours and the national recovery rate has reached 97.54%. Till now, more than 3 crore 24 lakh people have recovered from COVID-19.
Talking to News Services Division of All India Radio, President of Public Health Foundation of India, Dr. K. Srinath Reddy has hailed the India's landmark achievement of 75 crore COVID vaccine doses.
ये तो बहुत ही अच्छी खबर है, क्योंकि वैक्सीनेशन पर ही हम निर्भर हो सकते हैं। ये कोविड से रक्षा पाने के लिए एक तो मास्क पहनना या दूरी रखना या भीड़ भाड़ में शामिल न होना, ये बिल्कुल आवश्यक है। मगर अगर वायरस का संक्रमण हो भी जाए तो गंभीर बीमारी न हो, उसके लिए वैक्सीन लगवाना बिल्कुल आवश्यक है। जितना जल्दी हम जितना ज्यादा लोगों को वैक्सीन दे सकते हैं देश में, अच्छा है, क्योंकि आगे खतरा नहीं होगा। खास करके बुजुर्ग लोगों को और जिनको और बीमारियां हैं, जिनको खतरा है, उनको तो जल्द से जल्दी देनी चाहिए।
In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, Minister of Railways, Communications and Electronics and Information Technology, Ashwini Vaishnav, visited a community service center in Janipur area of Jammu yesterday and took stock of the facilities being provided to the public. Our correspondent reports that the visit of the minister was part of the public outreach initiative of the Union government in J&K. Officers from J&K E-Governance Agency briefed the minister about the functioning of the department and its role in facilitating people with respect to government facilities like Ayushman Bharat, PMJAY, E-Shram and other e-governance facilities. The minister also assured that the rail link with Kashmir would be open to the public before 2024. He also inspected Jammu railway station and studied the upgradation plan for Jammu and Kathua railway stations.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to lay foundation stone of Raja Mahendra Pratap Singh State University in Aligarh, Uttar Pradesh today, to also inaugurate Aligarh Node of Defence Corridor. Prime Minister to visit US to attend Quad Leaders Summit in Washington, D.C. later this month. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar says India is willing to stand by Afghan people just as in the past. Calls international community to come together to create best enabling environment. India's vaccination drive achieves another milestone by crossing 75 crore mark. Recovery rate stands at 97.54%. Centre says MSP approved for designated Rabi crops for 2022-23 is higher or equal to 1.5 times of cost of production. Tamil Nadu increases reservation for women in government jobs from 30 to 40%. Relief and rescue operations continue in flooded areas of Saurashtra region in Gujarat. Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel reviews the situation. And Hindi Divas being celebrated across the country today. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे।
भारत के स्वतंत्रता संग्राम में अनगिनत स्वतंत्रता सेनानियों ने अपने प्राणों की आहुति दी। कुछ इतिहास में अमर हो गए और कई गुमनाम। आजादी के अमृत महोत्सव के अंतर्गत 75 कड़ियों की श्रृंखला में हम उन वीरांगनाओं की बात करेंगे जिनका योगदान कभी भुलाया नहीं जा सकता। प्रत्येक मंगलवार परिक्रमा में सुनिए अपराजिता, देश की वीरांगनाओं को आकाशवाणी का सादर नमन।
Welcome back. You're listening to the morning news. The government has said that the minimum support price (MSP) approved for designated rabi crops for 2022-23 during rabi marketing season is higher or equal to 1.5 times of cost of production. Addressing the media in New Delhi, Agriculture Secretary Sanjay Agrawal said that the expected returns to farmers over their cost of production is estimated to be the highest in case of wheat and mustard. He said the return is 100% in these two crops, while in the case of lentils it is 79% and for gram the expected return is 74%. On 8th of September, the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs approved the increase in the MSP for all designated rabi crops for rabi marketing season 2022-23.
Tamil Nadu government has increased reservation for women in government jobs from 30% to 40%. Minister for Finance and Human Resource Management, Payanivel Thiagarajan, said gender equality will play a major role in bringing a change. The state government will bring necessary amendments. The government is providing horizontal reservation while filling vacancies through the Tamil Nadu Public Service Commission and the Teachers Recruitment Board. The minister said the government will give preference to orphans who have lost their parents in COVID-19 pandemic, first-generation graduates and Tamil medium students in government schools while filling vacancies in government posts. Hindi Divas is being celebrated across the country today. It was on this day in 1949 that the Constituent Assembly adopted Hindi in Devanagari script as the official language of the country. Today, Hindi is one of the widely spoken languages in the world. Union government has taken several steps to promote the Rajbhasha, and at the international forums, Hindi is being well received. The pioneer was the former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee, whose address to the UN General Assembly is still recalled by one and all. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu, Home Minister Amit Shah have greeted the people on Hindi Divas. On this occasion, Principal Director General of All India Radio News, N. Venudhar Reddy, has said that the role of All India Radio in promoting the usage of Hindi across the nation is very significant.
भारत विविधताओं का देश है। हमारा देश में अनेक भाषाएं बोली जाती हैं, तथापि अपनी सरलता, सुबोधता और पहुंच के कारण हिंदी ने भारत की राजभाषा बनने का गौरव प्राप्त किया है। अब हिंदी मात्र संपर्क भाषा न होकर विश्व भाषा बनने की ओर अग्रसर है। आकाशवाणी के कार्यक्षेत्र को देखते हुए हिंदी का महत्व और अधिक व्यापक हो जाता है। आकाशवाणी पूरे देश की आवाज है और सभी के लिए प्रेरणा स्रोत है। इस भूमिका में हिंदी की सार्थकता और प्रभावकारिता को नकारा नहीं जा सकता है।
As our nation celebrates the 75th year of independence, a series of events is being organized by the government as part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. And now let's listen to our special program Azadi Ka Safar.
Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav.
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a Nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the struggle every day.
Today is the birth anniversary of freedom fighter Gadi Cherala Hari Sarvottam Rao, who is popularly known as Andhra Tilak. He was born on this day in 1883 in Kurnool. Rao was inspired by the ideologies of Bal Gangadhar Tilak and Bipin Chandra Pal and joined the freedom movement at a very young age. Rao finished his MA from Madras Christian College in 1906, while at the Teachers Training College of Rajamundry, Rao and his fellow students attended a lecture by Bipin Chandra Pal.
Inspired by Pal's speech, the students wore badges inscribed with Vande Mataram to the college the next day.
Vande Mataram, Vande Mataram.
Mark Hunter, the college principal, objected and refused to admit the students until they removed the badges. The students refused. The principal dismissed Rao, who was a student leader, from the college. In 1908, Rao started a Telugu weekly newspaper called Swarajya. He criticized the policies of the British through his articles published in the magazine. The British declared that Rao's article, Biprit Buddhi, was an act of sedition and sentenced him to 3 years in prison. In 1914, he became the secretary for the Andhra division of the Home Rule League formed by Bal Gangadhar Tilak and Annie Besant. In 1923, he joined the Swarajya Party formed by Chittaranjan Das and Motilal Nehru.
Gadi Cherala Hari Sarvottam Rao is considered as one of the pioneers of the library movement in Andhra Pradesh. He nurtured the library movement in Telugu-speaking regions. Rao was its president for a record 24 years. He had the rare distinction of being the vice president of the Indian Library Association, Calcutta, and the first director of adult education in the Madras Presidency.
It was the strength of the library movement and its philosophy that contributed to the Madras Public Libraries Act 1948. Rao also started and edited several publications and newspapers. Some of them are Andhra Kesari, Navyugam, Andhra Patrika, Matru Seva, Andhra Varta, Panchayati Rajyam. Nominated as the first editor of Andhra Patrika, he stood for the national cause and laid an unshakable foundation for Telugu journalism.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in next episode tomorrow.
Gujarat Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel has reviewed the flood situation in some parts of Saurashtra at a high-level meeting in Gandhinagar. Mr. Patel held a high-level meeting on the very first day, soon after assuming charge of Chief Minister. Our correspondent reports that the Chief Minister has instructed for immediate rescue and relief operations and shifting of people from the flooded areas. More details from our correspondent.
Many parts of Saurashtra have received 300 to 400 millimeters of rainfall during the last 24 hours. Following the heavy rains and overflowing of dams, Chief Minister Patel has ordered the districts and municipal authorities to shift the people from low-lying areas. He instructed 3 additional teams of NDRF to Rajkot and 2 teams to Jamnagar. Meanwhile, Air Force helicopters have been pressed into service for rescue and relief operations. NDRF and SDRF personnel also join hands with the local administration in rescue works. 20 persons have been airlifted, while another 30 have been rescued by NDRF in Jamnagar district. Yogesh Pandya, AIR News, Ahmedabad.
Talking to All India Radio, DGIMD Mrityunjay Mahapatra said, deep depression has formed over North Odisha and is moving towards west-northwards, which will lead to a heavy rainfall in parts of Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh.
Under its influence during past 24 hours, there has been heavy to very heavy rainfall over Odisha, adjoining areas of Chhattisgarh and Ganti, West Bengal. We are expecting that this deep depression will move west-northwestwards across North Chhattisgarh and North Madhya Pradesh during next 24 hours, and it will lead to heavy very heavy rainfall activity over Odisha, Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh during next 24 hours. Also, under the influence of a cyclonic circulation over Gujarat region, we are expecting heavy to very heavy rainfall over Gujarat region and adjoining areas of Konkan during next 24 to 48 hours. So these two systems are helping the monsoon condition to be active over the central parts of the country, and similar condition will continue for next 3 to 4 days.
Hundreds of people yesterday took to the streets in protest against the targeted killings in Pancho district in Baluchistan province of Pakistan. A large number of people, including women and children, gathered at the main chowk of the town. The Dawn reported that they marched on the streets and roads and chanted slogans against the local administration and the police for their failure to arrest the alleged killers. During the protest, people said about a dozen innocent civilians had been killed in Panchgur in a month, but not a single alleged killer had been arrested. And now let's take a look at the weather update for today. Srinagar will have a mainly clear sky. Temperature will hover between 14 and 28 degrees Celsius. Jammu will have a mainly clear sky as well. Leh is also expected to have a mainly clear sky. While Gilgit, the temperature will hover between 15 and 36. In Muzaffarabad, the temperature will hover between 22 and 36. Sky will remain clear. National capital Delhi will have a generally cloudy sky with some light rain or drizzle. Mumbai will have a generally cloudy sky, and same with Chennai. In Kolkata will have a generally cloudy sky with few spells of rain or thunder showers. Hyderabad will have rain or thunder showers towards the evening or night. Visakhapatnam will have a generally cloudy sky. Guwahati will have a generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. The temperature will hover between 26 and 32 degrees Celsius.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. The dailies carry different headlines on their front pages. However, Supreme Court's orders in Pegasus case, a dilapidated building collapsing in Delhi, killing 2 children, WHO giving nod to Covaxin, and the demise of backroom man Oscar Fernandez passing away are some of the prominent stories. Supreme Court to pass interim orders in Pegasus case, headlines The Hindu, while the Statesman notes the government's reply in its headline, centered to Supreme Court, will not file Pegasus affidavit. Almost all dailies carry a picture of the collapsed building in Delhi. Hindustan Times writes, building collapses in Delhi Sabzi Mandi, while the Asian Age report 2 children dead as Delhi building collapses. The Pioneer headlines, Congress leader Fernandez passes away, and the Times of India notes, Congress veteran Fernandez dead. Covaxin likely to get WHO nod by this week, says vaccine expert. And finally, in a first for auto sector, 10,000 women to work at Ola's Hosur E2 wheeler plant, making it the largest all-women factory in the world. The Hindu business line writes, Ola future factory to be driven entirely by women, some glass ceilings being broken finally.
Before we end the bulletin, a reminder of today's question of the Amrit Mahotsav quiz. Which revolutionary freedom fighter popularized the slogan, Inqilab Zindabad? I repeat the question. Which revolutionary freedom fighter popularized the slogan, Inqilab Zindabad? Please send in your responses on 8826 546262. Repeat, 8826 546262, or through email on amritmahotsavquiz@prasarbharati.gov.in. amritmahotsavquiz@prasarbharati.gov.in. Celebrate 75 years of India's independence by participating in Amrit Mahotsav quiz with AIR News. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Modi to lay foundation stone of Raja Mahendra Pratap Singh State University in Aligarh, Uttar Pradesh today, to also inaugurate Aligarh Node of Defence Corridor. Prime Minister to visit US to attend Quad Leaders Summit in Washington, D.C. later this month. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar says India is willing to stand by Afghan people just as in the past, calls international community to come together to create best enabling environment. India's vaccination drive achieves another milestone by crossing 75 crore mark. Recovery rate stands at 97.54%. Centre says MSP approved for designated Rabi crops for 2022-23 is higher or equal to 1.5 times of cost of production. Tamil Nadu increases reservation for women in government jobs from 30 to 40%. Relief and rescue operations continue in flooded areas of Saurashtra in Gujarat. Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel reviews situation, and Hindi Divas being celebrated across the country today. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a great day.